Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. ESPN pounded tears into Thomas Partey after Arsenal draw at West Ham. Shaka Hislop has criticized Thomas Partey after Arsenal drew with West Ham on Sunday, insisting that there was absolutely no need for the mistake, which led to the home side getting back into the game. Hislop was speaking to ESPN after the Gunners threw away a 2-0 lead for a second week running to leave the door ever so slightly open for Manchester City in the Premier League title race. The draw against Liverpool was understandable given the quality the Reds still possess and the fact that the game was being played at Anfield, but Arsenal fans will struggle to look at their trip to the London Stadium anywhere near as positively. The Gunners were once again superb in the opening minutes, powering into what appeared to be a comfortable lead, but West Ham managed to fight back, and the catalyst for that arguably came from Arsenal themselves. You could see the confidence flowing through Mikel Arteta's side, and that seemed to border on overconfidence as Declan Rice steamed in to win the ball off Thomas Partey before West Ham went on to win a penalty. Some Arsenal fans seem unhappy that a penalty was given amid questions over whether Rice handled the ball, but there is no doubt that Partey made a real error trying to lift the ball over the West Ham captain so casually when he was initially in no danger, and Hislop suggested that Partey's mistake was a key reason Arsenal threw another lead away. He told ESPN, "It's again senior players making errors in key parts of the park that are costing Arsenal. Now, while you can say this is the way Arsenal play, this is why Arteta wants them to play, and we have sung their praises when they do, and they get the rewards for it. At 2-0 up, there is absolutely no need for Thomas Partey to attempt whatever it is that he was attempting. Just in the same way, there was absolutely no need for Granit Xhaka to be picking a fight at 2-0 up last week. Ben White was Arsenal's most composed player after West Ham draw. Journalist Adam Crafton has said that Arsenal defender Ben White was the least affected player on the pitch after their draw yesterday. Speaking on the Football Daily podcast, Crafton was speaking about Arsenal's reaction to dropping 2 more points. After such a strong start to the game, Arsenal collapsed towards the end of the first half. Gabriel Jesus and Martin Odegaard gave the Gunners a 2-goal advantage within the opening 10 minutes. It was a characteristically strong start for Mikel Arteta's side, who have made a habit of overwhelming teams from kick-off. However, a mistake from Thomas Partey gave the ball away in a dangerous area before Gabriel Magalhaes conceded a penalty. Bukayo Saka then failed to convert a spot kick of his own in the second half, and Jarrod Bowen made them pay just minutes later. Although Arsenal were struggling to cope, not every player was worried about the situation. Crafton admitted he spotted Ben White not looking as affected as his Arsenal teammates yesterday. That mentality may be the difference between maintaining a title challenge or falling off in the final few games. Talking about the result on the Football Daily podcast, Crafton said, "Do you know what? Watching White, I thought he looks the least affected Arsenal player. I thought he was relaxed, he was composed, it's not his preferred position. I was thinking that Tomiyasu is out injured as well at the moment. I think that's a problem because I think Ben White tucking in as the centre back rather than holding Arsenal might have been in a better place." Ben White has famously admitted that he doesn't watch football in his free time, but he will completely understand the importance of yesterday's result. He has arguably been Arsenal's most improved player this season, thriving in a new role at right back. Kevin Campbell recently said that everything he does is effortless, and that certainly looks like his style of play. His assist for Gabriel Jesus was perfectly placed yesterday, and he still looked very solid in a makeshift defense. Arsenal will need White and his teammates to stay calm, as Crafton says, but that may be easier said than done. He doesn't appear to be the most imposing character in the squad, but his mindset needs to rub off on his teammates quickly. Pundit issues verdict on Bukayo Saka after Arsenal draw at West Ham. Steve Nicol believes that Bukayo Saka has not been particularly good in either of Arsenal's last two games, as the Gunners leave the door open for Manchester City in the Premier League title race. The Pundit was talking to ESPN after another dramatic draw for Mikel Arteta's side. The similarities between the game against Liverpool last week and the result at the London Stadium are slightly alarming. Arsenal flew into a 2-0 lead in both games by half-time. The scorelines were 2-1, and ultimately, the Premier League leaders had to settle for a point. There was an even better opportunity against West Ham on Sunday. Arsenal were rewarded a penalty while 2-1 up after Antonio handled the ball inside the box. Saka has scored from the spot on numerous occasions in the past. However, on this occasion, he put his attempt wide of the post, and West Ham were able to equalize shortly after. Nicol has previously suggested that he is not sure that Saka has a single flaw in his game, but he admitted that he has not been impressed by his form of late. He told ESPN, "It was a poor penalty. He hasn't been at his best over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I do believe. I don't think he was particularly good at Liverpool, and I don't think he was particularly good against West Ham." Was it the wrong man taking the penalty? Maybe. Maybe that, because of the form he was in, or lack of. Saka has been less influential, but that was always going to happen at some stage. He has been so good for so long that his form was always going to dip. He has not even been playing that badly, but unfortunately, the missed penalty just compounds what has been a less impressive spell. Arsenal fans have been outstanding with their players all season, but if there is one player who is definitely guaranteed to be lifted up by the supporters when it's needed, it's Saka. He is such a special player. Sunday was not his day, but there is still some way to go in the Premier League title race. Gary Neville can't believe how good Aaron Ramsdale is. Gary Neville has said that he can't believe how good a signing Aaron Ramsdale has been for Arsenal. Speaking ahead of Arsenal's clash with West Ham United on Sky Sports, Neville was praising the goalkeeper. In the end, Ramsdale couldn't prevent the Gunners dropping another 2 points at the London Stadium. He was never going to get close to Said bin Rahma's penalty in the first half after Gabriel Magalhaes fouled Paqueta. However, he may be disappointed with letting Jarrod Bowen's strike beat him in the second half. The £30 million goalkeeper has grown in confidence throughout the campaign. With a settled back four in front of him, Ramsdale has been one of the league's top shot stoppers. Much like all of Arsenal's side, they have performed at their best when Mikel Arteta has had a settled lineup. However, injuries to William Saliba and Zinchenko meant he had to rotate more than he would have liked, and even though Neville was singing Ramsdale's praises, Arsenal couldn't stop Manchester City closing the gap once again. It means all the pressure is on their clash at the Etihad that will have huge implications for the title race. Talking before Arsenal drew 2-2 with West Ham, Neville said, "He shocked me. I thought that was an incredible signing to lose Lino. They lost Martinez to Villa. I am stunned at the way in which he is now pushing Jordan Pickford. I imagine very close." Neville isn't the only pundit who has been surprised by Ramsdale's impact at Arsenal. Mikel Arteta was singing his praises before the match and won't pin the blame on Ramsdale for yesterday's draw. Although he could have done more with Bowen's strike, the overall team performance wasn't good enough. After racing into a 2-goal lead, the level of Arsenal's performance really dropped off. They allowed West Ham to control the game and failed to really carve out any other meaningful chances. Martin Odegaard breaks impressive Arsenal record with goal against West Ham. Arsenal's Martin Odegaard is having an incredible season for the Gunners as the Norway international is spearheading their charge to the Premier League title. The 24-year-old has stepped up massively since being given the captaincy at the start of the season and has contributed 11 goals and a further 8 assists across the 30 matches he has played in the league. Odegaard added his 11 against West Ham on Sunday, and the goal broke an Arsenal record. According to Opta, The Norwegian has scored 8 goals away from home in the Premier League this season, the most ever by an Arsenal midfielder in a single season in the competition. All this will mean nothing to Odegaard if Arsenal do not go on to win the Premier League. The Gunners are currently 4 points ahead of Manchester City, having played one game more, and it could all come down to when the pair clash at the Etihad later this month. Either way, this Arsenal team is going places and will be in contention for more trophies in the near future, with Odegaard leading them as captain. Arsenal haven't discussed a new contract with Fowler and Balogun yet. Arsenal have had no discussions with young forward Fowler and Balogun over a potential new contract. That's according to journalist Darmish Sheth, who was speaking to Give Me Sport about the 21-year-old. Fowler and Balogun's future is likely to be one of the big talking points at Arsenal over the summer. It's impossible to ignore his form in League One this season with the Stade Reims. He is one of the top scorers in the league in a team that are expected to be mid-table at best. Young manager Will Steele has impressed in his first full-time manager's role at the club and has Balogun to thank in large parts for that. His 18 league goals easily makes him the top scoring Arsenal player this season. However, it's hard to see where he fits in Mikel Arteta's squad when he returns in the summer. Gabriel Jesus is quite clearly first choice up front and is integral to Arsenal's style of play. Eden Ketia has also proved to be a fine backup in his absence and is a long-term deal at the club. Balogun may not want to discuss a new contract at Arsenal, but the club have reportedly made no efforts to offer him new terms either. It means that one of Europe's most informed young goal scorers could be on the market in the summer. Speaking to Give Me Sport, Sheth said, "If you look at his contract situation, it runs until 2025. Come the summer, he will have 2 years left on his deal. At this stage, we are not getting any noises about any kind of contract extension." Clubs are already being linked with Balogun this summer, with Everton and RB Leipzig, both possible destinations. Balogun reportedly doesn't want to go on loan next season, which is understandable given his form this season. It means Arsenal either have to find a way to integrate Balogun or let him go, and his contract situation may end up making their mind up. If he doesn't leave in the summer, he will only have 12 months left on his deal at the end of the next campaign. His value may be much lower by then, and Arsenal may be forced to cash in sooner rather than later. Fabrizio Romano says that Jonathan David wants Premier League move. Fabrizio Romano has said that Lille forward Jonathan David would like a move to the Premier League amid interest from Arsenal. Reports last week have suggested David could be signed by Arsenal if they lose Fowler and Balogun this summer. Balogun is believed to be pushing for a starting role at Arsenal after his superb season this term. The Canadian international has been in fine form himself all season. He has already smashed in 22 goals for Lille this season as he continues to break records for the French side. And according to Fabrizio Romano, David would indeed be open to a move to the Premier League should Arsenal firm up their interest. Romano said in his latest Scout Offside newsletter, "Jonathan David has been appreciated by RB Leipzig ahead of a possible summer move, but he looks to be too expensive for the Bundesliga side. I am told he'd love La Liga or Premier League as destination. I'm told he'd love La Liga or Premier League as destinations." David, lauded as a fantastic talent, is valued by Lille at around £70 million mark. However, there have been reports his value could dip this summer, meaning he could be available at a bargain price. David is exactly the type of player Arsenal would love. He has a bit of everything at the top of the pitch, and is just like their forwards now, in that he can play numerous positions. The problem for David is that if he moves to Arsenal, he might not be a first-choice starter. Given how well he's done in France, he simply isn't going to go somewhere else to sit on the bench. Of course, David might have to accept that the best sides will mean a bit of reduced role if he does sign, but whether he'd accept that at Arsenal remains to be seen. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.